I'm so mad at myself because I forgot my little title trick for these videos on the other two videos. So next time I'll do it. I like that little trick. So a short little tutorial here on turning footage black and white. This is the grandma shot from this same commercial. The joke in that Incubate commercial is that there's this she gets a phone call from the past from her grandma. So this is the grandma footage that ends up on the phone in the commercial. So this is a very flat out of the camera footage, no color correction on it at all. And you'll learn just in general, most cameras shoot a little more flat now. You always have to add a little contrast. It's always a little flat. So, but we're going to make this black and white, and I just want to show you there's a couple more things you want to do when you're doing black and white than just taking the color out. So we start with desaturation. Saturation is your color, and we're going to just take all the color out of it. And there we go. We have a black and white. No more color. But overall, it's just sort of a gray, sad. It's not vibrant. It just sort of, you don't want it black and white to just be a series of gray colors or a series of grays. You actually want blacks and whites and contrast. So let's start by moving the contrast a little bit. Just to get some separation of her from the background. The flowers start to pop a little bit. This tree branch, her face, get some more detail going. Some more three-dimensionality, I like to think of as contrast increases sort of the three-dimensional space of a flat image. Then we're gonna go down here to the blacks. I always like to make sure that the blacks are black. I think that's the biggest trick with black and white is you want there to be blacks and you want there to be whites. So even though in this scarf those weren't black colors, we're going to cheat and just have a little more contrast in there, a little more black and darkness in there. So I'm going to crush those a little bit more. Just a little bit. This is too much. But I came down like 31% on that. And then I want my highlights or my whites to really be white. So I'm going to increase my whites just a little bit so the whites are white. There's a lot of white in the shot already. The white wall and her hair are going to lose her hair. We don't want to go too much with that. So we've really punched up the contrast. We've really brought down crushed the blacks. And then maybe a little more in the shadow. So I'm going to bring the shadows down. Look how that tree kind of comes out a little bit more in the shadow. In the background. Oh, that looks nice. See the dark grays? So we've got, and then I'm going to increase the highlights a little bit. I'm going to bring the whites back down a little bit because there's too much white in there. So now it's a little more punchy. It's a little more, I'm going to bring the exposure down just a hair because it's a little overblown when it was exposed when they shot it. So now it's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more punchy, a little more three-dimensional looking, a little more vibrant. So you actually want blacks and whites. You want contrast. You don't just want to just desaturate and move on. It's just basically a palette of gray colors. So that's all, just a little shortcut for black and white.